the K-Pro Cow Wow. Marion and Indy are what they're like, although their real names are Christy and Mike. Can they pin down the treasure? They just might. Tune in to find out Monday nights. K-Pro Cow Wow. K-Pro Cow Wow Wow. It's the K-Pro Cow Wow.
Okay. What's up, everybody? Monday night, January 25. We are only like 4 days away from the World Series of Fenn weekend and the other thing that's happening. How you doing, K-Pro? Are you going to make it? Are you going to stress out?
Those are two totally different questions. Am I going to make it? Yes. Am I going to stress out? I'm already there. And Adam, I'm sorry it's not a good angle. I am still homeschooling. We've had a day and it's on about hour 10, and we, some days you have good days, some days you have good days, some days you don't have such good days, and so we're chugging through it. I'm gonna have to mute at times to keep everybody on track, because that's what parents do. We have 2 jobs, we have 3 jobs, we make it happen. I'm gonna smile right now because today's been a pretty frustrating day. So, but that means, like I always tell my kids, when you have a bad day today, that means tomorrow is going to be awesome. How do you like that?
And pretty soon, little Cowlazars is going to be saying,
"Did I do good, Daddy?"
Okay. Hey, what's up? JBR Princess, Steven, Rodney Greenway, KC Maw, JK Pioneer, Adam, Lisa, Lucky, Billy, Mr. Clue is in the house. We'll have some updates on some treasure hunting amusement park rides at the end of the show. Lucky Digger, Zozo, Indiana Jones, Mike Wood. Sorry if I missed you. Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. So yeah, tonight we did send the, so if you guys don't know, how about I go back to the beginning? K-Pro was nice enough. A searcher was nice enough to reach out to K-Pro. Didn't reach out to me. Reach out to K-Pro, I think. I don't know. That's why they don't reach out to me. Reached out to K-Pro and said, I can put together a survey and all the searchers can fill it out. So in one central place, we can get Jack's responses to emails. And we did that, and we got like 65 responses. And a show a week ago, we went over those responses. Now, some of them obviously were wrong. So K-Pro said, you know what? Why don't we send them to Jack? And maybe he'll be nice enough to go through. And
wait, I need to correct you a little bit. And I'm sorry to do that.
Okay.
But first, another search friend, lurker, but somebody that I felt I knew from the blog, said some of these, it seemed like some of them were obvious. Like, no, I found it in New Mexico and I lied. Yeah. Some of them were groundbreaking though. So we just showed them. I haven't even posted them yet, because Mike and I were talking about, what do we do? Do we post them? Do we not? This searcher took the screen that we had placed up there and forwarded several to Jack. So what did I get? I just, some days when I would wake up and Forrest's emails would be sitting there, I had an email from Jack. And Jack said, I heard you're putting a database together, but there's some inaccurate ones. You shouldn't do that, or something like that. Like, don't put out misinformation. And I said, so what do you think? Do you think that you could review this? Because there's 60 submissions. He's like, yes. So, which was really cool that one, magically, he just emailed me. It was nice. And then 2, he volunteered his time to review the emails that were in this database. So I thought, double cool, Jack, double cool. But wait, can I say one other thing? Please thumbs up the video. Super chat is on. We are going to be talking about Forrest Fenn tonight. We are going to be talking about several things on the World Series of Fenn. And there is a Tuberg, maybe controversy that I want to talk about as well. And just, clear the air, because there is some things that at least went around Facebook that I was forwarded that I thought, oh, I better comment too. I'll comment at the end. But you all know them. So and it may be old news to you, but I would kind of like to comment. That's all. Comment. So go ahead, Mike.
Okay. Yeah. As K-Pro said, make sure you thumbs up the video. Super chat's on. If you have a question, you just have to have answered. We'll do our best. And we got some updates. We do have a breaking news for the World Series of Fenn. You need to, if you're going to the World Series of Fenn weekend, you need to pay attention. But first, let's get to Jack's emails. It's a little something I like to call Jack Stoof said, what? And now we know what he said because he is verified. He's been nice enough to verify for us exactly what he said. So we ready to jump into it, K-Pro?
Yes. So what I think we should do is go over just the question and answer, and we're going to color code them. Maybe what's on brown, let's because they are not
the ones that are incorrect, or the ones I should say that are false, the ones that people filled out but they are not from Jack, I will put in red so we can disregard everything in red. The other ones we'll see. Maybe we'll color coordinate them on it, but coordinate them on importance. We'll see. So basically, what Jack did is everything that's bold. He said, "Yep, that's mine." Oh, don't tell me I can't. Oh, this is not an editable doc. What is that all about? Protected view. So whoever.
Okay, we'll have to cut and paste later. We'll worry about that later. So can you do me a favor, Mike? Can you
Yeah.
blow it up a lot, because
Yeah,
there's no way my eyes will do that.
Actually, or can I?
Okay.
All right. You know what, guys? Give me a second. Let me play with this doc off screen. K-Pro, talk to people for a while. Tell them a story.
I know how to chit chat with the people. So let me tell you a few other things that happened. World Series of Fenn. So let's jump to that as Mike fiddles with that document. So the first thing is, this is kind of huge. This is really important for you guys to know. The World Series of Fenn has been moved. It has been moved. We've moved it for a month from now. No, I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. It's needed to be moved from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. So nobody will miss it if you show up early. Just stick around for an hour, but it'll be at 3 p.m. We will send that out to everybody. But they have another tournament going on at the exact same time, and they're concerned that people are going to get into our tournament. Hey, David. Hold on one second. Oh, what fun today. Okay. So it's at 3 p.m. just to make sure that there's no confusion. It's better for all of us. We have received a couple of gifts. So there will be some prizes being awarded. We don't know how many yet. Some people are bringing them, etc. And then the last update on World Series of Fenn, you may not know it, but it actually snowed here in Vegas. So, and guess when the next storm comes in? Friday. You know what? I'm not worrying about it. The chances of it canceling, okay, there won't be a cancellation of the wedding. There may be a very, very, very small venue. The only thing that we are able to get inside. I don't even think it's probable. So don't you worry about it. We will have a plan no matter what. Again, not worried, not worried. So.
Okay, we're good, K-Pro. I think I can make this work. Let's see here. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do this, and let's do this. Okay. Yeah, you told
I appreciate all of you guys loving my PowerPoints. That's what they were saying, is how much they love my PowerPoints.
Could have added each of these questions and answers into a PowerPoint, but maybe we'll do that at another time. That way everybody could read them and they could really be big. But what I was going to say is very important. The World Series of Fenn poker tournament has been changed at 3 p.m., right? Just like K-Pro said.
Yes, that was the big news.
Still Saturday, 3 p.m. Then that begs the question, K-Pro, are we still going to meet at noon at the food court, or should we meet at 1 at the food court? We'll think.
Who the hell knows? I don't know.
We'll let everybody know for sure.
My brain is fried. It was funny because Mike asked me what I wanted for dinner last night, and I said the only thing that I don't want to do is decide. Right now, I have made every little tiny decision: color of flowers, color of how do you want the and I right now am at the point of I don't care, as long as I don't have to decide, I'll be happy. So there you go. Mike, you're muted.
Okay, here we go, everybody. A little discombobulated, but we'll get it done. So we are only going to go over the questions and answers that Jack has confirmed as valid, that they are, in fact, his questions and answers.
We need E to show. E, F, G is all. No, really, E and F is all we need.
Well, all we need is response. The question, his response, right?
Okay. Yeah. However you want to do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, here we go. This is pretty huge, in my opinion. Number 1, where warm water's halt have to do with physical water? Yes. If so, was the water actually hot or warm? Warmth is relative, but to Forrest, yes. How far did you have to walk from your vehicle? Not going to answer that one. And this speaks to when he said to K-Pro, did you dip your toe in it? Was it warm? He was literal. He was saying the poem says where warm waters halt. It's literal. That's what it means. So for everybody that had a metaphorical where warm waters halt, it was just incorrect. I mean, we just got to accept when we're wrong, everybody. No comment on that one, K-Pro? Now, when he said that to you, did you take it that way?
I 100% believed it was warm thermal feature. The last one would have been within a mile, and that would have been the trifecta for me. So this one, I think that, yes, for me, I think, yes, that confirms for me. If you think Jack's the finder, if you think he had a solution, and if you think he had the solution based on or the treasure chest based on his solution, yeah. But does that mean necessarily that it's like neener, I was right? No, because I think some things that Forrest told me were shenanigans, and when he told some other people were shenanigans. So I mean, I don't get to go ha 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 because I believed in the GPS solve for a while. I know some people don't live in the gray world. I live in a gray world. I'm like 99%. I'm okay. I'm okay 50-50. I get to do that. That's just my world. So yeah, I did always think it was a warm thermal feature, and that's what it basically says. So confirmed, 5 exclamation points. Everyone be upset if you want to. Confirmed.
Karen from Canada is in the house. What's up, Karen? We talked to you on the phone before, I remember. Okay, I cannot get this to scroll the right way. Sorry, guys. Forrest said to read The Thrill of the Chase normally. Darn it. Oh, there it goes. And then memorize his poem. Then go back and read his book slowly and look for hints to help with the clues in the poem. He also said if you mix the hint and clue into catalyst, which would give you this, then it would be a map to the treasure. Can you explain more on the method of making a catalyst with the hint and the clue? Does the catalyst appear on a map as a named place? Jack's response, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure if he had a very specific catalyst in mind as well, but I think appreciating all the context and looking at the big picture opened things up for me. And I'm sure, in general at least, that's what he was talking about. I have no idea what any of that means. UK Pro, what does looking at the big picture mean? Is it all the Rocky Mountains? Is it all of Wyoming? Is it a literal picture in The Thrill of the Chase? What do you think that means, K Pro?
I think the question was, I think there was something big and ambiguous there. What do you think? And he said, yeah, there's something big and ambiguous there. Like, I don't know. The question I think was trying to go for something specific, but was ambiguous in wording. And I'm not very good at wording either. So I'm not bashing you any more than I'd bash myself, but then vice versa. We got oh yes, you'll just appreciate it in the context of the big picture. Like, I don't know, like you could have a solve in Canada and that would apply. So I don't know. I got nothing.
Well, I was going to make this yellow because to me it's a non-answer, but then that'll confuse people. So everything that Jack has confirmed will be green. What you know, people, his answers are subjective. So for somebody that may have been very interesting. So I'm not going to try and color code it based on my opinion. Red, Jack was not Jack's answer. Nice try, whoever submitted those. Green is Jack's answer. All right, moving on. You disclosed that the chest was found in Wyoming. Can you disclose which county it was found in? Sorry to disappoint, but I won't do that. And well, at least somebody asked, to see if he'd narrow it down, but he won't because he said he won't. Will that?
Ooh, Steven says it's because it was an earthquake, big picture earthquake, like Earthquake Lake. I do think something big happened there. I do think that. And that's why the blaze was broken. And we know the blaze is in a tree now. Breaking news. I don't know.
Okay. Give me 1 second because I just realized I got to do this. Okay. When Forrest made the announcement that you'd found the chest, and this one's blank, that's why it's red. There's really nothing there. He made the statement, it was under a canopy of stars in the lush forested vegetation of the Rocky Mountains. Was his statement that it was under a canopy of stars somehow relevant to your finding the chest, or was this just Forrest being poetic? Just being poetic, I think, but I did find it later in the day. Does he mean the canopy of stars? Just being poetic, but I did find it later in the day. What do you think, K-Bro?
Well, if you go by our source, that was actually part of the blaze or whatever. So I think this yet again tells us that our source is full of malarkey. That's just what I say. I don't know otherwise. I mean, it just doesn't make sense otherwise. So I don't know. He found it later in the day. Is that important to the people that think like on Raiders of the Lost Ark, the sun goes a certain way? Maybe. For me, no. And like the guy points out in chat, we're not clever. You and I aren't clever. I got nothing for you, Mike, because I'm not clever. I didn't get the treasure chest, darn it.
Okay. Well, yeah, to me, when Jack says I did find it later in the day, to me, that means he found the canopy of stars, whatever that referred to, under a canopy of stars. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if.
Oh, I see your point. Okay. He did find it. You think the it, oh God, we're going to get into what the it's mean. But you think the it meant the canopy of stars. I took it as there was no canopy to be worried about. That was just him being poetic in his words earlier. There's not even a canopy, but you're right. If you add in that second part of the sentence, I did find it later in the day, the canopy, then our source might be right. The GPS solves back on the table.
Hashtag GPS. Okay. It's heavy loads. Yeah, there was no response. This is going to be red because he did not give a response. Boop. Okay, that is correct. Moving to the next one. This one is good. This one's valid. If you were free and clear of any legal worries, would you want other searchers who developed a fondness of Forrest and his chase over the years to know the special spot? Jack's answer: if I could be assured the spot wouldn't be destroyed and Forrest was okay with it, and most of them wanted it just to be handed to them, then sure, I don't get off on being withholding. That's a very interesting answer to me, in that he says he thinks searchers want to figure it out themselves. Part of at least what Jack says, I'm just going off of what Jack has said, is he doesn't just want to spoon feed it to everybody and say, clue 1 meant this, clue 2 meant that, this is the home of Brown, this is where it was. He thinks the majority of searchers still want to figure it out themselves. I disagree with him. What do you think, K-Bro?
Okay, Jack, if you don't want us to need it to be spoon-fed, go put a proxy item there. Go do something. Otherwise, there's no way for us to just figure it out, get to the spot. And what? You said you even refilled the area that there's no way to detect it. So I find this one, I don't like this response. I'm not going to like everything he says, obviously. When he says just handed it to him, we have no other way. You have to hand it to us because, one, you won't tell us where it is. There's no proxy. There's no item. There's no confirmation. You put the ground back how it was. There's no way that we can do anything else. It almost feels like, that other guy that called me and you and a few other people lazy. It almost feels like that. So these originators and people that are like have so many searchers at their door, and as a part of a community, I just don't like that answer. So you got to do one way or the other. You got to put your butt on a horse. You either have to say, oh, I'll let you guys earn it. I've put a coin and it has a certain number and one of that Cowlazars coins. And if you tell me what number it is and you tell me where you're at, I'll confirm it. But you're not giving us that. So we have no way but for you to hand it to us. That's why everyone's still emailing. That's why, no offense to you, that's why you're relevant right now, Jack. Because once it's out, I don't think as many people will be as interested in emailing. And maybe that's the fun of it. I don't know. Maybe that's what Jack's really getting excitement over, because he's wanting emails and he's still answering emails. I didn't like this answer. That's my short answer.
Well, Billy Shaw Jr.'s got an interesting point. He says it's possible that he did leave something there, but for legal reasons, he can't say that he did. And that's an interesting thought process. Interesting question. But let's look at his question number 2. From this same person. This person asks, if you had arrived at the spot only to realize you weren't the first one there and the chest was gone, would you answer the question the same way? And listen to what Jack says. He says, I knew where it was. So if someone else found it, I wouldn't need a chest size depression to know where it was. I have thought about whether I would go on the internet and point out the evidence at that point in a fit of pique or bitterness. I think and hope I would still point it Poku. I think and hope I would still keep at it myself, but who knows where my emotions would be at this point. Well, wait a minute. I thought Jack had to spend the 20 days looking for it and all that. Yeah, but he says, I knew where it was. That makes it sounds like he knew. Okay, so when the park actually opened back up in June, it sounds like he went right to it. He figured out where it was from home. What do you think, Capra?
Well, I think the park opened on the 1st and he got to it on the 6th. I don't know which day he got there, but we knew he spent many days. So I think he knew the general area, and he talks about it later, like football size or not football size. Because of a broken blaze, he couldn't figure out where it was
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
But
right.
he
Yep.
had whatever evidence he believes, he never left his location. But here's the thing, I know some searchers that were in the same general location for years and they didn't leave their location. So how is he different than some of the other
How would
searchers?
no, right? How can he?
Right.
Yeah.
Now he says he knows because he knows at a whole different level. Yeah, there's searchers that do exactly that. They know. It's like what made him different. Obviously, he's valid. His was different, but why? I don't know what the but why is.
Okay. Okay. Not a question, but I have hypothesis of how the treasure was found. I said I don't think it was hard to figure out where it was. You just had to be on the same wavelength as Fenn when he wrote the poem and hid the treasure. This is the hard part, is there are so many different directions you can go figuring this out. And Jack says, thanks for sharing. I think zoning in on the wavelength is exactly right. So you had to be on the same wavelength as Forrest Fenn. And that makes sense. If we knew what was in Forrest's mind when he wrote the poem, I mean, I think it would be rather simple to find. You could say wavelength, you could say thought process.
Well, some people said, is it cheating that he would meet some people knew more personally about him? Did that give searchers an advantage? And I always thought, yes, it does give an advantage. I don't know if it's fair. That's up to Forrest to decide. But that he met with some people and some people knew him more than others. His own daughters went and searched. I think they just wanted this over. If they would know him more, would they be able to crack it better? Jack at least has said yes. Like he figured out where he wanted to die. He figured out slips. He didn't know him personally, but it doesn't sound like the poem was a thing that cracked it for him. It was all these other things. So yes, in short, yes. I'll give you the long answer, and then in short, yes.
Zozo Rocks says fact on all capital letters. Forrest never mentioned who the finder was. And that's correct. But Forrest Fenn's family did verify who the finder was. Would you agree with that, Capro?
Yes. And I believe that Forrest's attorney has confirmed through whatever motions have been going back and forth. And I believe Jack has an attorney that will verify the same. I believe, this is the other thing I believe, we are not privy to all the information. Jack has made it clear that there are legal documents. I think those legal documents have his name on it before Forrest passed as to the finder. I do not believe, not only do I think that perhaps Zoe or Shiloh or whoever saw Jack and said, oh, my name's Jack, my name's Zoe, or my name's Shiloh, whatever that exchange was. I believe there is something legal because he's talked about legal documentation. Legal documents is what he said with plural. So it can't just be what was in that treasure chest. So in my opinion, I don't know if it's a title exchange. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I just have enough to make controversy. So I don't know. There you go.
And Lisa Marie points out, isn't there a picture of Jack and Forrest together with the treasure chest? Yes, there is. Okay. This one's interesting. It says, the blaze is haunting me. When you say it's damaged, I wonder if it's because it isn't recognizable. To me, the blaze was part of a forest already damaged or dead. But in saying it's damaged by forces of nature, does that mean it's beginning to grow back? So it simply doesn't look as dead as it had before, like the poem suggests. And Jack's answer is, not the sort of thing that would grow back into a blaze. So if the blaze is not the sort of thing that would grow back, then it's obviously a inanimate object of some kind, like a rock or
not inanimate. I would use like a not living. Like it can't be a tree.
Okay.
Yeah. It can't be a tree. It can't be, but it could be I think of rock croppings. I don't know why I keep going there. Maybe because I had that as one of my blazes. But he says it's white. I don't know, but it does help. I think that is probably one of the most fascinating ones that was provided, my opinion.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? Okay. Hey, Jack, congratulations on your find. You have an awesome story to tell your children and someday your grandchildren. I do have a couple of questions for you. We've all seen the picture of the chest with the stick on top. Do you have any other picture? Do you have any other pictures of the chest at the location in Wyoming that you are comfortable sharing with the community? And Jack says, I don't think so, but I haven't looked at what I have in a while. It's crazy. This is
Hit
one
the
of those,
wonk, wonk, wonk button on that one.
I don't know. I got so many pictures on my phone. I don't know where they're at. Yeah, you guys.
Dear Lord, Jack. Somebody said I'm turning on Jack. No, I'm giving you my opinion. I don't agree with anyone, even myself says all the time. So I'm not going to be just blindly loyal to anybody. I'm going to say my opinions. And this one, Jack. Love you, Jack, but this one doesn't pass the smell test. Phew. This one stinks, Jack.
I haven't looked at. Yeah, well, maybe Jack's busy. He's a busy guy. And Jack, we're not slamming you in any way. It was just fun to talk about your answers and basically interject our own opinion. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're not. But to us, we think it's an odd answer. That's all. And then there's a part 2. How long did you sit there with the chest staring at it before you packed it up to leave? And he says, I spent enough time to decide whether it was real or not. Maybe 5 minutes. Well, that'll drive the conspiracy theory folks crazy. He took him 5 minutes to decide if it was real or not. Then I put it back because I didn't want to move it without his explicit permission. I came back and retrieved it after I contacted him to get that permission, which now we know is what he said from the beginning, is he didn't want to take it without Forrest's permission.
I like this answer, and I believe the 5 minutes. Think about this. And I said it before we had the additional information. If he only had it in his possession for 5 minutes, then left it, he was still chasing. He had some direction. This is before we knew that. But that was the telltale sign to say he had directions. He couldn't take it yet. I still think he might have put it in his car and he had to say this. But anyway, he runs back to his hotel that I think it was in Yellowstone. So let's say it's half an hour away, 45 minutes away. He heads back. He gets explicit permission. What doesn't make sense is he decides to spend the night, sleep in, get breakfast, buy some souvenirs. I'm being facetious at this point. He seems to slept in and not really worried about going and picking up the millions of dollars on the way to go see Forrest. That was a little, I don't know. So, but yeah, this one I believe. I think he opened it. He saw a few things in it, went, oh my God, this is the chest. This is it. He read this thing that said, you are not allowed to take this. You will not legally own it. And sorry, go and now email me at this or at this lawyer's, whatever it is. And at this point and this point only, you will then own the chest. Boom. He put it back. He went. I believe the 5 minutes. Totally believe it.
Okay. Would you be willing to answer the question about the distance between where Warm Waters halt and the blaze? And Jack's answer, I never calculated it. And I think that maybe that's just another way of him saying, I'm not going to tell you. So,
Exactly. Just like how long getting out of the car. Exactly. He doesn't want to narrow it down.
Yeah, he's got to have a rough idea, but he never actually calculated it. Okay. After you initially found the chest, you stated that you asked for permission to move it. How long did it take Forrest to get back to you? And this is interesting because Jack says I sent him an email, and I think it was less than half an hour later. Now, can you imagine Forrest when he got the email of, holy cow, somebody is actually right there about to take it? I think he had some relief, K-Pro?
Yes and no, but this totally makes sense. I asked Forrest once. He wanted everyone to stop emailing him. I have 2 stories for this. And I said, and he goes, there's about, 10, 12 of you that I really like to hear from, but it's in the sea of other emails. So there was a couple of us, and why don't you just make a separate email? Like Forrest Fenn for friends at gmail.com or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think we all have a work. And he said, I can't. I am tied to this email. And I just thought to myself, there must be something to it. There has to be a reason. This explains why to me. And how many of you guys got an email and he kept up on emails constantly? When he walked away from his emails, he came back. He was bound to his emails. And I don't think he wanted to be. I think this is something he didn't think through well, but he did. So So there you have it. So in my opinion, this totally fits what he said. He couldn't get away from his email. The reason why it's the directions he gave in the chest was email him. I do think there was somebody identified. I actually think it's Carl. I have no way of knowing that. It's a total guess. I think it was Carl that would have picked up the email correspondence after that, or a clerk in the office, and there would have been money in his estate to keep that monitoring up. My opinion and my opinion only. Don't hold me to that. I am nobody.
Well, I can speak to he would always reply right away or normally, because back when I had the coin idea, me and him went back and forth a couple times over a couple days. And I know I emailed him late a couple times, like 10 or 11 o'clock Pacific, which is an hour later in New Mexico. And he'd reply back in like 15 minutes. So he was definitely a night owl. He was definitely up late. All right. And we continue on. This one is false. Nice try. I'm not even going to read it because it is false. Somebody made it up. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Okay. So then we go on to the next one. Now this one is no response. So this is red because there was a no response. Okay. Did the damage to the blaze affect the look quickly down clue? That's an interesting question. And Jack says, I think the damage didn't have a major effect on that part. Oh, why can't it just be an effect or not effect? What's this major, minor?
Wait, but that's what took him now days and years, and that was exactly what I thought. So if you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down. So maybe he couldn't identify the blaze. So that means it's earlier on than just, okay, this one's interesting. So it's not the look quickly down part. It's, if you've been wise and found the blaze, that's more important to the broken piece. So the wise, because we already know the word blaze. So wise is more important to the broken part than look quickly down. That's what I'm taking.
Well, I look at it this way. If you actually find the blaze, you've actually found it. Whether it's damaged or not, you can look all around it for the treasure chest. If you take the poem literally, which I think we were supposed to, look quickly down meant just look down everywhere. Look everywhere where that blaze is, as long as you've identified it. Now, if it's damaged and you can't find it in the first place, that's going to be an issue. So I think the damage didn't have a major effect on that part. I guess it means just that. Once he found it, he could look everywhere and find it. Maybe. Maybe. Okay. Was wondering what Forrest said about the damaged blaze. And Jack's response is he thought it was a possibility, but was surprised it happened so early in the chase. 10 years early in the chase. Interesting, huh? And I know people have said, well, Forrest said the blaze would stand the test of time. I don't know if I ever actually saw that quote. I know people say it a lot. I'm just not sure where Forrest made the statement.
Well, he actually, in my opinion, said the opposite during our interview. I said, what do you think is going to happen with the chase? Something like that. And his answer was, I'm supposed to predetermine when earthquakes, mudslides, and he just went on and on. All these things are supposed to happen. He's like, I can't do that. You never know. I almost think he knew, but he didn't want to say that he officially knew. He had to know the general area. And if there was a big forest fire or a big something that happened there, I don't know.
Here's another interesting one for those of you who are still trying to find where the location is. The searcher says, I had a pet theory that Forrest endangered the solution by the amount of interviews he gave and came to the conclusion that if he were to make an unguarded comment, it would have been early on in the chase and or when asked an unusual question. Is that what you found? And Jack says, thanks, Dean. I think he got into his groove with handling interviews quickly. And I certainly looked at and watched and listened to everything. But in Jack's answer, I think he's saying yes. He's saying Forrest got into the groove with handling interviews quickly, which means, in my opinion, it was early on in the chase that Forrest slipped up. So if you guys are looking for those interviews, I would say you should look early on at those original interviews back then. Maybe Lorena Mills. I don't know. And then second part of the question, did Forrest know at the time that he made an error? Did he realize it and try to backtrack? Did Forrest know when you spoke to him that he'd made an error in the past? And Jack's answer, I did ask him about those two little slip-ups, so we know there's two. He remembered one, but not the other. But that second one was very subtle. He seemed satisfied overall with his performance, keeping the secret. And I agree, it was impressive. So you guys are going to have to make of that what you will. But I take Jack's first answer to those questions is, yeah, it was early on.
I like that. I like that. Now, I wonder, this would be an interesting question. Was it something that was publicly available? So we know that Jack has already gotten cutting room floor footage, just like Jason Dent did with the Playboy guys and Dale had with somebody else. We had with our stuff. Was it something publicly accessible, these slip ups, or were the slip ups something private, that an average searcher would not have access to? Ooh, that's a question I might ask him. Or you ask him, or you. Everybody can email him. And everybody should email him because he gave us an email and he'll tell you. He's told some searchers. He has not told me this because I don't email him very often. But he does say when somebody asks 100 questions, he'll say, narrow it to 5 or narrow it to 3 or whatever it is. So in general, that's there's a reason he put his email out, because he's okay with it. If he stops responding to you, there is a good sign that you've asked too many times.
It's because you're blocked. Okay. Moving on. This is a very important one. Listen, everybody. Is the Blaze a character that can be found on a keyboard? Yes, multiple times. And would we know what the Blaze is by reading The Thrill of the Chase? And the answer is it doesn't matter, because this is not an answer from Jack. This is false. Some knucklehead.
I was going to say, what the hell does that mean? Okay, good. I'm glad you
Was the chest really found in Wyoming? No, it was really found in New Mexico. That is false. I think we all knew that one. And then this one about your wise one, young grasshopper, that is false as well. Thank you, Jack, for clarifying for us, because somebody may have believed the Blaze is mentioned multiple times in The Thrill of the Chase, which is ridiculous. Okay, the next one that is a valid answer from Jack, or response. Fenn often mentioned that folks had either figured out the first 2 clues and walked by the chest, or had been within 500 or a couple of 100 feet, or were at the starting point. In your opinion, was he truly referring to physical proximity to the resting place of the treasure? Or instead, was this an example of Fenn speak where his truths were obfuscated by some form of wordplay? And Jack says, yes, physical proximity. So when Forrest says figured out the first 2 clues, walked by the chest, or had been within 500 feet, that is physical. So that is interesting. Again, the metaphorical Forrest, it would have meant some mystical. No, it was physical. I think, in my opinion, the poem was literal. The hints that Forrest gave us were physical, 200 footer, 500 footer, those kind of things.
And unfortunately, I think the people that Forrest had said were in these categories were not necessarily searching in Wyoming. I think that's where the shenanigans are played, and that's what Forrest, I think. Oh, yes. Okay. This is, yeah.
Okay. You'll leave that.
There's so much backstory of the drama of the chase that, like, this person was told, but they were a New Mexico searcher, but they were told they were the 500 footer by Forrest. I think Forrest told people stuff at times. I think
if I would have read Forrest's email to that person, I may not have taken it the same way. In other words, Forrest may have said, wow, you're really good, or you're a great searcher. That doesn't mean you're the, you know what I mean? You know how Forrest had double speak. So I think people took it one way. Now, unless Forrest literally said, you are the 500 footer, and they were in New Mexico. But again, I don't know who you're talking about, and I don't know what those responses are. So I guess
it is better if you don't. We're putting all that in the past. Oh, because we have information here. And yes, somebody said, but Jack's information is not admissible in court. It's hearsay. To you, it may be. To us, we're having a good time reviewing this information. Because here's the thing that I struggle with. If the GPS solve and the explanation of why the GPS solve can't come out is valid, can we believe anything Jack says? Yes, in my opinion. Why would he be doing this otherwise? I don't think he's just a mean guy just trying to, he already has his 15 minutes because he's the finder. I don't think he has to be spending time. I don't think he's just getting enjoyment misleading people. I think anything that he would have to either not answer or mislead are going to be the minority, just like with Forrest. So I don't know. Okay, keep going. Keep going, Mike.
Okay, well, this is about the lead searcher right here, K-Pro. My question is that I'm hoping you might be able to shed light on a Fenn quote that has been floating around for years. He said something to the effect that people have been within 500 feet and searchers 200 feet of the treasure. This has given rise to the notion of a lead searcher. Do you believe that this was an indication that others besides you were searching in the same area, or was Fenn really just saying that the chest was hidden about those distances from a road or trail that people, including searchers, would have traveled on incidentally to actually searching for the chest? And this is a valid response from Jack, and that answer is I don't believe in the lead searcher idea. He didn't hint like that. And K-Pro just said he did hint like that to people. So which is it? We don't know.
Wait, he did hint like what? No.
Oh, no, you were saying.
Forrest hated the idea of the lead searcher.
He
alluded
said that
to
in our
it.
interview, right?
He said that in our interview. He didn't say hate, but he's like, how would anybody know? He just thinks it was a way for people to be pompous. I'm the lead searcher. I'm the lead searcher. I'm the lead searcher. And he's like, they have no way of knowing because they don't have the treasure chest. He believed that there is someone that was closer in proximity and closer to solving it than anyone else. But he's like, they can't self-appoint themselves. He's like, he had some issues with some people that were so pompous on the forums, especially more than anything else.
And maybe YouTube too. You never know.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, how many, we had tubers saying that they have the treasure chest after that, and some just alluding that they might. And it was like, come on, you fools. And actually, it was a tuber. He was a tuber. He did get in.
Well, I think there's a lot of roosters, but Billy Shaw Jr. with the logic, and he's Grand Adventure winner. I see why. He says, one, Cowlazars and K-Pro. I can think of at least two reasons Jack is communicating with us. One, he's a nice guy. And two, there is more to come that requires a fan base, so to speak. So Jack is getting us primed for something. And I agree with that, Billy Shaw. That's actually a very astute observation, in my opinion. So let's continue on. Let's see what the next question is. This one makes no sense to me, but Jack did answer it because he's a nice guy. In one of the photos of Forrest with the treasure, there's a pair of scissors called Blaze scissors. Oh, I get it. I didn't realize that was the name, Blaze scissors. Anybody out there know those scissors were called Blaze scissors? Is the Blaze a pair of scissors? And Jack's answer is no, those scissors weren't the Blaze. They were inside the chest. Okay, well, that's a little bit of a clarification for that person anyway. I didn't realize those scissors were called Blaze scissors. So we learn something every day on the Cowlazars and K-Pro powwow on Monday nights. Okay, this one is obviously false. Nice try, whoever you are. And then we have two blank spots right here. And everybody, is warm water's halt a reference to a thermal feature? How could something like that halt? And it doesn't matter what the answer is because this is not a response from Jack. Somebody tried to throw a good one in there and throw us off.
Okay, and Billy Shaw says something. You might have said it when I was off doing something. I can think of at least two reasons Jack is communicating with us. One, he's a nice guy, but two, there's more to come that requires a fan base, so to speak. Yes, the sale of the treasure chest, I believe, will eventually come up, or the location that it is going to be put in, museum, et cetera, et cetera. One of those things I think are going to happen. And I think he does, especially if he's going to be selling it. He does need a fan base, as you say. I like how you say that, Billy Shaw Jr.
Yes, and I did point that out, but thank you for pointing it out again. Here's another one that is, in fact, false. So we don't need to read it. Okay, now to one that is not false. Would it be accurate to use the word elegant to describe the correct solution to Forrest's poem? If not, is there a better single word to describe it? And Jack says, I'm sure everyone has a different definition of that word, but to me, yes, but it is also humble. Elegant. Okay.
Too vague to matter. I'm sorry. Nice question. It's kind of interesting. I'm not going to wrap my head around it or spend time because it's like, what's elegant yet humble? I don't know. Let's move on.
But to me, you know, we've all said at the end, we hope this thing makes sense. And if Jack's saying yes, it's elegant, humble, but elegant, I think that's good. It means it does make sense. If we ever knew the solution, we would agree with it, I hope. And I hope one day we get the solution. Okay. Forrest told Douglas that the Denver Museum of Nature and Science was originally going to be the final clue. Would you share why that place was connected to the correct solution? And of course, this answer is an accurate response from Jack. And that answer is, I didn't ask, but my guess is a clue. He was headed north. North of Santa Fe? I mean, yeah, the Denver Museum of Nature and Science is kind of north of Santa Fe.
No, north to Wyoming. But here's the thing.
But why, how could that be a clue north to Wyoming?
Because I'm not sure if you knew, Jack says the treasure chest was found in Wyoming.
How would the Denver Museum of Nature and Science be a clue to Wyoming?
So in my opinion, this is an answer that he kind of came up with, kind of like when Matt first asked him about why did he go and try to get explicit permission. He's like, legal hot potato. No, there was directions. I think that, do you believe this answer, if Forrest's final wishes was the finder to contact the Denver Museum and negotiate a deal to have it there, do you think that he lied, he being Jack, lied with his answer? Or do you believe that would have been misleading, that answer?
If he would have answered it? Is that what you just asked?
He did answer it. Jack answered this question. There is a response in the response.
Yes, I got it now. I believe he was truthful when he says he didn't ask, because of all the things you want to ask Forrest when you meet him, probably, hey, what was the Denver Museum all about? It's probably not one that he would ask. But he says, my guess is a clue he was headed north. I just don't understand the clue he was headed north part.
Okay, so let's go back to my
why
question.
Be a clue. I don't understand how the Denver Museum is north. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's go back to my question. My question was, okay, hold on a second. Okay, so I just need everybody to know that Mike has trained the dog to bark when he wants his attention. And so Sammy's trying to pull Mike off of the air to tend to the dog that he has trained. And I'm saying, no, we can't do that right now, even though I kind of agree with her. Okay, so here is my question. If Jack, or if Forrest's final wishes was for the treasure chest to be at the Denver Museum, at the end of this, in a year, it's going to be at the Denver Museum. Do you believe what Jack is saying answered it honestly? He didn't ask him, and let's just say for the sake of argument, he did not ask him. What was the 10th clue? Would that still be an honest answer? That is my question. That's my only question.
I can't answer that. I don't know if any of these are honest answers because I don't know where the solution was. You know what I mean? So I don't know if he would answer honestly or not. Just like he won't answer the Yellowstone question. I don't know.
Okay, so for the room, because I think they understand me more sometimes. So we know that Jack alludes or is vague with his answers and doesn't answer everything according to what people are asking. If the 10th clue was the Denver Museum, because he wanted it in that final spot after all the treasure chest was sold, etc., do you believe Jack's answer is, I didn't ask him, and let's just say that's true, but my guess is it was a clue to head north? That might still be the case. If Jack has the knowledge, and this is a big if, that the Denver Museum is where Forrest wants the final resting place to be, is that still an honest answer? Is my question to the room.
I understand what you're saying, K-Pro, but I still can't answer that because I don't know how that would work. I don't know why answering the question of why it would be the final clue has got anything to do with if that's where Forrest wanted it to be. Those are kind of two separate questions, but yeah.
My point is, there was an answer that Jack gave to Matt that said, when Matt was the first to catch on that there might have been a legal document inside, and he asked that question, and his answer was, well, I went back because this could be a legal hot potato. He has that answered somewhere in here. It ended up being later that it was actually explicitly stated in a document. The way that Jack worded that answer didn't explicitly lie, but it definitely answered it differently than intended. And my question is, could that be what's happening here since we know he's already done it elsewhere? Of course, the answer is I don't know because we don't have all the information. Of course. But what I'm saying is if we can use our critical thinking skills to say, is there more to this one? To me, it feels like there is more to this one.
Yeah, and the room can answer because I don't know. I have no opinion on that.
Okay, no, Mike understands me in general, but me and Mike do not communicate sometimes. I'll talk to him and he'll answer a question that it's like, did you even hear what I said? And that's okay. That's what happens, Bobby D. And I'm okay with it. So then that's why I turn to the room of my search peeps.
And this is the first time we're going over this list. To be clear, we don't practice any of this stuff off the air. This is the first time we're going through it. Okay, this is a good one actually. One of the most debated answers Forrest published was regarding the little girl in India. Would you be willing to tell me why this fictional girl couldn't get closer than the first two clues with just Forrest's poem and a map of the Rocky Mountains? And this answer is valid. And he says it's very difficult to answer a hypothetical like that because everyone brings their own preconceived notions into it. To me, now remember, Jack's the finder and knows the solution and says, to me, it's because she has no context. She doesn't even have the book. All she has is the poem and a map. So that means the thrill of the chase. All you poem purists out there, to me, that means you have to have read the thrill of the chase in order to solve the poem. You need to know the context. What do you think, K-Pro? Am I reading too much into it?
I'm reading it like you say, but let me go further with a different answer he gave. And you needed to watch some of the interviews where Forrest slipped up, and that's what connected it more than anything else, in my opinion, of what Jack has said. So it was not the poem. It was not the book. So we all know we need the poem. We now know we need the book from Jack, or Forrest said whatever he said. But I believe, Jack has said it. There were two slip-ups. There were two specific ones that gave him the hunch. Within a month, he solved this from when he got the book, based on this hunch, based on slip-ups on an interview. So all you poem purists, boom. All you poem purists and book purists, boom. It took a slip-up of an interview.
And actually, I think I'm going to email Jack the question tonight. And that question is, if Forrest had not slipped up in the interviews, would you still have found it? If Forrest had not slipped up in those interviews, do you think anybody could have found it just from the poem and the thrill of the chase? And I want to see what.
That's a great question. That's a great question.
I'm surprised nobody's asked it yet. Okay. Here we go. It's been rumored that Forrest said you were the only person to correctly identify the home of Brown. As far as you know, is that a true statement? Were you the only person to correctly identify the home of Brown? And Jack says, I didn't ask him that, but it wouldn't surprise me. At the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if someone figured that out and hadn't told him. I didn't before I met him, meaning I didn't tell him the home of Brown before I met him. Did you figure out the home of Brown before you ever went boots on the ground to your search area? Yes. So Jack's saying he successfully figured out home of Brown before he went boots on the ground. That's interesting. Was Brown one of Forrest's names for the chest, and home of Brown the location of the chest? And the answer is no, and that is a valid response. So that's interesting. He figured out home of Brown before he ever went. But he says if somebody else figured it out, it wouldn't surprise him. So that's a good answer, in my opinion. This one is very interesting, but it doesn't matter because it's false. Not from Jack, where he says, I'm not willing to rule out Yellowstone. Not from Jack. Okay. Are place names on a map relevant to all the clues in the poem? I surmise that the poem itself, taken as a whole, points to one general area on a map by place name. But maybe the individual clues from there on don't have specific place names. I like how people didn't just ask him a question. They give their own point of view in the question as well. But it's their email. They can do what they want. Jack's response, which is valid, says, I think I can answer that either way, and people would quibble if they knew the answers. So he says he can answer that either way. Are place names on a map relevant to all the clues in the poem? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that helps.
Not on that one, but let's go back. So Billy says, Forrest told me point blank that I only needed the poem. So I'm gonna call Forrest out a little bit. God bless him. Forrest never was the solution person that came up with the solution without knowing Forrest or how a poem would be deciphered. So though he thought that, there is no way that he knew that. Much like when Mike and I put a hunt together, we're trying to make it hard. Something could be really easy that we didn't understand somebody's knowledge or whatever. So Billy, I agree with you that Forrest told me the exact same thing, but Forrest wasn't the solver. Forrest was the one that put it together. He supposedly handed it to Douglas Preston and said, "What do you think?" And Douglas said, "This is too easy." Now I did ask Douglas, how the heck can you say it's too easy if you didn't know the solution? I still think he might know something, but Forrest or Billy, Forrest, no, Jack is the only one that didn't have the solution beforehand and didn't create it. He's the only one that solved it. So he's the only one that could actually come up with the correct answer. He's the only authority on that particular, which sounds a little mind-boggling, but hopefully I communicated my logic there. But it's a good point. So, okay, back to this. I don't understand this answer because if there's 9 points on the map, there's 9 points. Are they named or not? Like I asked Forrest, is the canyon named? And he said, I can't answer that. And I think, I keep saying Billy, Jack, I want to give you the trust, Billy. Jack answered the same way. Why wouldn't they answer? Is it named or is it not? Now, what I think is maybe some locals have a name for it, but it's not officially named on a map. That's what I don't know. That is what I don't know.
And I take it as some of the clues are named and some aren't. So how does he doesn't want to identify what is and what isn't. So he just, he can't say yes and no. But Billy, he didn't just tell you that. He told everybody that. I mean, Forrest has always said from the beginning, all you need is the poem. But I understand your point is in regards to the little girl from India. Why could she only get to the first 2 clues if she had the poem and a map? I get it. Okay. Is that
real quick? Put at KPro or at Cowlazars to highlight it because I'm not catching everything. I'm not able to read everything. I got too much going on. Still homeschooling. So put at KPro if you want me to stop and try to answer it.
No, Mad Band says we should record this. It will be here, everybody, forevermore, and you can watch it as many times as you want. Is any part of the solve outside of Wyoming? I know this was a theory that some people asked. Could it be where Old Waters Halt is in Canada somewhere, and you work your way down? Is any part of the solve outside of Wyoming? I know you found the chest in Wyoming, but does the chase begin outside of that state? And Jack says, nope, everything is in Wyoming. And that is an actual response from Jack. So all 9 clues were inside Wyoming. So that one put that one to bed.
Yeah. And I got, when he asked me what was my Nez Perce solve, and I said, as I got alone in there is when Chief Joseph was with his dad at the grave and then made his way to the Nez Perce Trail. And he's like, but that's not even in the search states. And I'm like, no, but they don't have to be. And he just rolled his eyes. And I wondered, that kind of confirms to me what Jack's saying. Some people thought borders meant borders of states. So it's all in Wyoming. I actually think, even though it's been out there a week or 2 or 3 or 5, I don't know, however much time, I still think that one's like breaking news. I think that one's awesome. Good job, Jack, giving us enough. I don't want to feel, for me, some of these feel like he's being evasive to the point that he's given us the runaround. An answer like that tells me he's genuinely trying to be helpful. So Jack, don't let me give you a hard time. I'm still a fan.
Now, this next one's kind of long, so I'm not going to read it. But the way I take it is this person was asking about wordplay. And Jack's response, which is valid, was, I think you're overcomplicating it. So in my opinion, that goes back to the poem being literal. It's not wordplay. It's not stuff like that, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, they go into the verb and verb this, and the way the stanza is written, you can make it mean this. And he says, I think you're overcomplicating it. Okay.
Yeah. And Chris asked, has anyone asked Jack if Brown being capitalized is significant? Yes, they did. And he said, yes, it was. I think it's in this database, or it's on the Thor, one of the Thor threads somewhere. It exists. He said, yes, it was significant. He said his answer was everything Forrest did in that poem was significant. The B being capitalized was significant.
Okay. When you located the blaze and then the chest, did you see the chest, or did you have to move or slide something out of the way to see it? And Jack, and this is a valid response. He says, the chest was covered by forest debris, but I could tell something was there. I swiped the debris away and saw the top of the chest. And there it is. So it was not like covered. And I guess when Forrest said the chest doesn't sunlight doesn't reach the chest, I think Forrest knew the debris would be on top of it. It's going to be covered up by something after 10 years, leaves, dirt, debris.
The canopy.
The canopy of stars. Okay, we're getting to the end here, everybody, until Jack does more. After removing the chest from the nook, did you in any way try and disguise the location? For those of you still trying to find it. Also, the picture of the open chest with the now famous stick on top, was that the picture you emailed Forrest after you found it? Or was it taken when you went back to retrieve it? And this is a valid response from Jack. And he says, yes, I pushed that debris into the nook when I left, but that's it. I felt satisfied that I left no trace. So Jack's saying he covered the nook up, that if you go to the actual spot, you're not going to see the nook where the treasure was. Jack says, I pushed that debris into the nook when I left, but that's it. He didn't try and disguise it. He just pushed the debris back into the nook.
I'm going to go back to the GPS solve. There was debris pushed back in the nook. I'm just going to say it. I don't know.
Hashtag GPS, hashtag try the wheel. Also, the picture of the open chest with the now famous stick. Jack says that photo with the twig was taken before removal and emailed to Forrest. I did not take any photos specifically to release to the public until I met with Forrest in New Mexico. So I take it that is the picture that he sent Forrest when he emailed Forrest. That's the one he sent him to give him proof that he had found it. That's how I read it.
Yeah, and I think, so how I take this is maybe a half true, or it's true, but it also had other meaning. That was what he took. So then when he went back to email, just like you said, he gave Forrest that picture and he said it was, whatever the Lacey Creek or whatever it was. But it also did become, even though it wasn't intended, that did become the official press release picture, the first one out there.
And actually, this question and answer is duplicated, which I didn't realize. So this is there twice. This one was the treasure in South Dakota. That is not Jack's response. And if you're wondering if it was in South Dakota, I don't know what to tell you. Here we go. I'm curious about the timeline on June 6th. That Saturday morning, did Forrest know you had found the treasure? And unfortunately, this one is, in fact, a valid answer. So let's see what he says. Not unfortunately. I was just messing with you. Yes, he knew I had found the treasure when you were with him. And we do know now who that searcher was. I didn't want to move the treasure chest without his explicit permission. So I left it there and emailed him the night of June 5th. I went back the next day and retrieved it with his permission. He was waiting for me to call back to confirm I had it in my possession before making the announcement. But here's something interesting. Jack says when he emailed Forrest, he got a reply in like 30 minutes. That means Jack had the permission, but still waited till the next day to go back. So I wonder.
Wait, let's go further than that.
Yeah.
He not only waited till the next morning, he says in one of the later emails that we'll go over, he also slept in. Because, hey, you're going to go pick up $1 million chest that you just cried over the night before. This one doesn't pass the smell. This one does, but the next one does not pass the smell test. Thank you, Indiana Jones. Great show. $5 super chat.
Thank you, Indiana Jones. We appreciate it. Yeah, I do wonder if he couldn't go back because it was dark or because the park was closed. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Why did he sleep in? Why did he sleep in?
Well, he was obviously tired. Yeah, I know. I get it. Yeah, because he's Jack and he's not K-Pro or Cowlazars, I guess. I don't know. Can't answer that one.
Or anyone else on Earth. There's something more there. In my opinion, there is going to be a reason. It's like when something doesn't make logical sense, it's usually not true. Then he didn't say why he just slept in. Did he know he couldn't go back until a certain time, etc.? And we know by this time, Forrest is meeting with Matt. Matt's come out and said it now. He was sitting there chit-chatting with Matt, so Forrest was tied up. So maybe he knew Forrest was tied up, chit-chatting with Matt.
That is interesting when he says, hey, I think I slept in. What if there's another reason, but he doesn't want to say what that is? In other words, there's a whole bunch of people on the way to that. I had to wait for them to clear out, so I went in the afternoon. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Or Forrest told me I have to go have somebody verify it in the morning, a lawyer to bless it, a priest to bless it. I don't know. And do not get there before 10 p.m. or the treasure chest will not be there and it'll explode in a grenade, like that one guy said last year. I don't know, like something. I think there's something crazy at the end of this story, and I think it revolves around Jack sleeping in.
Okay. And then Jack is asked, why ask permission? The poem says, take it. And Forrest never suggested you needed permission. And this is valid from Jack. And he says, if I had somehow found it my first boots on the ground, I would have just taken it and told him after. But the more I thought about it over my months in the chase, the more I wanted it explicit from him and not just dependent on words in a poem. Just being careful. We all know this thing could turn into a legal hot potato.
Here is the reason. Number 50 on the spreadsheet is the reason that I know Jack gives answers sometimes that are misleading. He came out later and said there was legal documents. That is the reason that he had to give it explicit permission. If you look at how that is worded.
Jack said that?
Yes.
Oh, on this spreadsheet or no?
I don't know if I haven't read the spreadsheet, so I don't know. But this was Matt's first answer. This was like just a few days after. So a few days after, he's trying to make it seem like it wasn't a big deal. Then it came out later. There was a legal, and he says documents, plural. So there's something else there. It's obviously not, I don't believe, in the memoir because he left that sealed, supposedly. So with all that being said, there's some things that aren't making sense. So how he answered this question is all of my references to kind of his half answers, or he answers in a way that makes you know how Forrest said, if somebody takes my answer differently than I intended, so be it. I think he's taken a page out of Forrest's playbook on that answer because we know later what he said. It's not just legal hot potato. That's true, but there was another reason, which was Forrest directed him to do it. There you go.
No, you're going to have to find out where it is because Bobby says he never said it that way, K-Pro. It was interpreted that way, but that isn't what he said, in my opinion, Bobby says. And I don't remember where he said that. So if you have time, down the road, look it up.
Me? I do not have time. Bobby, if you have time, I know it's somewhere. I don't know where it is offhand. But he said there was did he say it in the Medium article? I don't know. Too much out there. Sometimes my answers aren't right. Okay, that's what Karen says. Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen it. So, and I've talked to Jack about it. So, yes, you guys are right.
All right, well, all I can say is if you talk to Jack about it, hey now. All right, you guys make of that what you will. We're already at an hour, everybody. Moving on. When you guys are at the World Series of Fenn, you can ask K-Pro. Maybe you'll get the truth out of her. Okay. Where were we? If I had some, there we go. Did you send Forrest a photograph Friday night, the twig photo? Did he get back to you that night? And Jack says yes and yes. So he did send that photo that we originally saw of the twig is what he sent Forrest. And he did get back to him that night. And he says we talked. So apparently he talked to him that night on the phone. So that's interesting. Okay. The outside article says you got the chest the 6th and began the long drive to deliver it to Fenn that same day. Did Forrest need to see it with his own eyes? Saturday night before making the announcement. And Jack, and this is valid, he says, I wasn't in a rush, which that's a little odd. I think I slept in, spent some time enjoying the location one last time, carefully and methodically retrieved it, and called him not long after I had it in the car. So this is Saturday, correct? When he went back to retrieve it.
Yeah, like probably late morning because he had to sleep in until 10 or 11. 10 or 11 he never said, but he slept in. Really? He slept in. Like, really?
Sometimes you want to watch Predator for the 18th time on HBO. You know what I mean? Okay.
Well, but here's the interesting part. Go back up, Mike. The interesting part of that answer is I carefully and methodically retrieved it. Okay, so let's say, and I know you weren't with me, but let's say we had gone Where did we go? We went to Ojo Caliente together, Mike. Let's say you and I went out to Ojo Caliente, and remember where we put something one time under like the fifth rock?
Mm-hmm.
The next day when we went back out there, would we have to carefully and methodically retrieve it? We had just been there the night before.
Nope.
We took it out, we put it back in. Why did he carefully and methodically have to retrieve it?
That is interesting. I don't know. I mean, that is interesting. Yeah, maybe someday we'll find out. So the line from the outside article is misleading. The long drive to deliver it to Fenn that same day. Retrieval and delivery didn't both take place on Saturday, only the former. And he says, right. It took me time to get down there from Wyoming. I stopped for the night at a hotel along the way. So retrieval and delivery were not the same day. Retrieval, well, hang on. Retrieval was Friday or Saturday? And did he get the Forrest
So
Saturday or Sunday?
Friday night or Friday afternoon, because he said he found it in the afternoon. He took it out at the Nook, read that he had to go, legal document. Sorry, Bobby, if you don't have time, it's my story. I'm sticking to it until I see otherwise. He put it back in its spot. He went back out of the park, in my opinion, emailed Forrest. Then they talked that evening. That next morning, he slept in. He went and methodically retrieved it. He drove down and stayed in a hotel on Saturday night. Yes, Saturday night. And on Sunday is when, and we believe we know when he was in that office because somebody analyzed and brought up his his watch, and his watch showed like what, 2:30 or 3:30 or something. So it was sometime in the afternoon that they got to that. So my guess would be he went directly to Forrest's house first. That's my guess.
That sounds right to me. Forrest stated, and I'm paraphrasing, the spot was not in a very dangerous location. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Forrest stated, and I'm paraphrasing, the spot was not in very close proximity to a human trail. Did you indeed walk a human trail for a portion of the solve or not? And do you feel his statement, done in classic Fenn style, was a hindrance or help in the ultimate solve? And this is a valid response about a close proximity to a human trail. And Jack says, thanks. I think that may narrow down things too much if I say, sorry to disappoint. Whoops. Sorry to disappoint. Okay, let me read this again. Thanks, Donna. I think that may narrow down things too much if I say I found it. Okay. I think that may narrow down things too much if I say, sorry to disappoint, but don't want to give that away. Sure, we talked about it, but he probably didn't tell me everything, or there are some things difficult to put into words. So he doesn't want to answer, but I don't understand how that would give away too much. Do you, K-Pro? I mean, how many man-made trails and are out there in Wyoming? I mean, how's that?
I don't know. There's a reason, in my opinion. Justin Posey said it early on, like a week or two after Jack was outed. It's what he's not answering. That's really interesting because there has to be a reason.
Yep.
And all those kind of triangulate into one reason that really could narrow it down. So there has to be a reason for all of it. And Zozo Rocks, Bobby was not saying that I have access to their communication. He is saying that I have communication with Jack and I have communication with Forrest. And somebody's going to try to get out of me. Well, whatever. Go ahead. The treasure chest is found. Doesn't even matter anymore.
And then this last one, everybody, basically the answer from Jack is, I don't want to answer that. Any part of Wyoming can be seen on a map, and I don't want to answer that. So it's kind of a non-answer, but he did say, I don't want to answer that. So there it is, everybody. Thank you, everybody who filled out the survey, because that's what made this possible. The community actually coming together. 65, and I'd say maybe only 5 or 6 of those were invalid because some people either jerks or just wanted to play around with people.
Well, and I put it higher because a lot of those had 3 or 4 answers to each one. So like they had 3 parts. So I'd say about 100. Nowhere near. A lot of people asked, why didn't people put more? I didn't get mine in there. I'm sorry. Some people didn't get everything in there. And I think some people have theirs up on forums, different Facebook areas, etc., that they just didn't either feel like doing it. A few people said, since I didn't know who set up the Google Doc, I didn't feel comfortable in doing that. If it would have been you, I would have done it. I wasn't willing to do it because more people were like, oh, she's trying to get more private information again. It's like, I would rather somebody else do it. So various reasons, but I think informational all the same. It's kind of fun to review those emails back and forth. I think when we get to the point of, I'd like to, if Jack's willing, get a little bit more information on the focus on where Forrest wanted it. Was it for personal reasons? Was it for the community reasons? That sort of thing. I don't know if he'll answer because I haven't asked him at all that. But some of us are still having fun answering. He gets back pretty quick. I mean, he emailed me on the one. It was like, wow. That was like jaw drop. So I think he's still having fun with us. As long as I think the people that he's not having as much fun with, they're like, I'm not getting a response anymore. I think that's your answer. So maybe give him a little time, or I don't know. I don't know. So
Super chat for Billy. Thank you, Billy. We do appreciate for that $5 super chat. So there it is. There's the responses. Thank you, Jack, for clarifying which ones were actually from you. Thank you for answering questions to begin with. I won't say thank you for ending the thrill of the chase, but you seem like a good guy. So it had to be somebody. So congratulations that it was you. And at some point, those will be up on Thor, Christy.
yeah, I actually will need to get it converted. I'll try to get it this week if I can. This week's turning out to be a little crazy for me for obvious reasons, but I will try to get it. Now that we got this verified or confirmed, that's what took a week. Mike and I were going back and forth. Do we post it with when we know shenanigans? I said yes. Then we were going to take out ones that we knew were kind of baloney, but I like the idea. I'm going to leave everything in. We're just going to leave it color coded, and we'll put that information down at the bottom. So, I had two other things. Can we talk about? Is that okay, Mike? I know we're a little bit over.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Because this is going to be our last show before the World Series of Fenn.
So,
Go ahead, Mike.
I just wanted to remind people to subscribe and hit the all on that little bell, ring the bell, as they say, because we will be going live at various times over the weekend to show the poker tournament, to show the party and all that fun stuff. But we will not have an actual show on Thursday because we're going to be busy getting ready for the World Series of Fenn and the wedding. And so, yeah, make sure you subscribe so you can see all the crazy kookiness when we go live over the weekend. Lisa Marie, thank you for that super chat. Happy belated birthday, K-Pro. K-Pro's birthday was yesterday, and we actually were out and about having some fun, and I gave her a big, big birthday present. So thank you, everybody, and go ahead, K-Pro.
Okay, so couple things. One, we already said that. Thank you, everybody. Yes, big 4-5 for me, so it was kind of fun, kind of cool. World Series of Fenn has been moved to 3:00. Make sure you know that. So if you show up early, you should be showing up early anyway. We do have some, if you have a prize for the World Series of Fenn, the cash prize will be handled by Bally's. But we will do we did top 9 last year. Top whatever we have, and they will get information. Do we want to tell them about our bounty?
Oh, can I show them?
Yes, you can.
Right. You explain to them what it is.
Okay, so for those of you that don't play poker, and then I do have one other thing about Forrest Fenn content in a second. You do what's called a bounty tournament at times, and everybody gets a little bounty chip, and then when you knock somebody out, you make a little bit more money. We have decided, and I don't know, we haven't settled on what the prize would be, but this could be the prize in itself. We have decided that Mike and I will have a bounty on our heads, meaning if you knock me out or if you knock Mike out of the tournament, you get I knocked out K-Pro WSOF 2021. And then, of course, Mike, which he always makes it to the final table. I knocked out Cowlazars WSOF 2021. You're going to have bragging rights. That's your bounty chip. So just a little bit of fun. I've been putting most of my detailed time into the wedding, but there's still going to be some fun things like that at WSOF. So we hope you all come and all are a part. So
yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So here's the deal. If you are coming to the World Series of Fenn, email me. Only way I can communicate with you on where the parties are is if you email me or hit me up through Facebook Messenger. Okay. Friday night, there will be a get together at 8 p.m. Saturday night after the poker tournament, there will be a get together, probably 8 p.m. as well, that everybody's invited to. But the only way I can tell you where that party is, and we don't have room numbers until we check in, is I need to know your email. So you got to email me or contact me in some way. If I've already talked to you and I know you and I have your phone number, I have your email, well, then you're good. But if somebody's coming that doesn't really know us, maybe we're meeting you for the first time, email me one more time and say, hey, I'm going to be there. Make sure you tell me where to be and at what time. So thanks for coming, everybody. It's going to be a very fun weekend. And yeah, I don't know if you guys heard, but we're getting married. So that's going to be the most important thing for us. And then I fully expect K-Pro to win the poker tournament. But what if I knock her out and I get to wear that t-shirt? Wouldn't that be an awesome thing, K-Pro?
No, that won't be an awesome thing. And we already had somebody in the room say, wait, you make more money off commercials. I mean, what? Guys, we spend several thousand on this event. We not only get a suite, which everybody can come up to, that's a part of WSOF. We provide lots and lots of things. You need to come and see. If it's not enough for you to be here free, sorry, we do as much as we can. We give back as much as we can. But I can tell you this year's is we have decided, rather than just a big suite, we do have the penthouse after WSOF, and that is for all searchers, and that the kickoff is Friday night. I won't tell you how much that is per night because, oh my gosh, but it is worth it. It's about 3,000 square feet. It's pretty awesome. Plus we'll have drinks. Plus we'll have some food, some other things that we'll talk about for attendees. For people just being snarky, I'm not talking to you guys.
And the other thing is, I would just got to say thank you so much. We did set up a wedding registry. That link is down below. And for those of you that have bought something and sent it to us, we are blown away. I have yet a third wedding gift opening video that we made that I need to upload. I think what I'll do is upload it tonight and premiere it tomorrow sometime. Another reason you should be subscribed is you'll get notified when that goes live and you guys can watch it. And we're at a big thank you to William. You guys will see. I don't think you've told anybody yet, K-Pro, so I'm not going to say what it was, but they'll see in the video when we open it.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 things. One, we put the poker table thinking that several people would like pitch in together. No, we had one searcher. Thank you. You know who you are. You'll be in the video. Get us the poker table. And then somebody else who's rather full of shenanigans most times was like, sent kind of a cryptic message that something was coming. And I took it very differently. And then it came, and I really like original stuff from Forrest. I can't believe what it was. I can't believe how many it was. I'm not going to say anything more. I'm just going to say, oh my gosh, you know who you are, but you guys will all see it, and you will see we actually get out some other information to like compare it. And you guys have been overwhelming. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. But let's get back to Forrest Fenn Hunt if we can. Mike, you're laughing. What does that mean?
A little comment by Beeps. You guys will read it. You'll know. She says, I can't believe yogurt isn't on the registry. It's not, but baseball cards are. And I've gotten some. So there'll be an opening video later on. But yeah, that's funny. No yogurt. And no yogurt in the penthouse either, everybody.
And blanket. Somebody asked me. I will say there are some gifts. That now Shankopotamus, I don't know who you are. Shankopotamus is saying I knocked K-Pro out because she's a bluffer. I can't click on or whatever.
Online poker, maybe.
Oh, online. Yeah, I do that. It's online free poker, of course. I'll donate my chips to you anytime. Okay. What did Forrest leave for you and Mike? Czar? There. Okay, I did actually put out up on Facebook. Forrest did have some words for me and Mike. He knew that we were growing close to perhaps getting to this point. I don't know if Mike and him ever talked. Forrest and I talked quite a bit about it. He did give me some words for my wedding day. I asked Mike if they did get a little personal and detailed about some things that we haven't shared in the community. It's just private stuff. It's not like we're hiding it. It's just about our relationship. And I asked the community, what do you guys think? Or our Facebook community, like, would you share it? Would you not? I have decided not to share. Mike said, I support you either way. And I did tell him the details that it included. which was both the ebbs and flows of every relationship. It went into some specific detail. I'm not going to be sharing the specific words, but there is going to be a tribute to Forrest on that day, just like Tony Henman. But in general, yeah, Forrest did give us some words, is all I will say. Anything else? I don't know what you're talking about, Czar. Oh my gosh, yeah, my romance with Forrest Fenn. He was a mentor. He was, gosh, like a dad. He was fantastic. And he actually helped me through the biggest. Mike and I have had one, I think, major fight in almost, I don't know, a couple years. And Forrest was the first one I wrote and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so mad." And Forrest was like, "Are you kidding me?" And not I'm kidding, he was a big deal and all that, but he was just like, you need to, you found your soulmate, is how he said it, which I think was interesting because you used those words in the finale. And I wondered if you and Forrest had talked. Anyway, we're getting goopy. Let's not get goopy tonight.
That big fight was about baseball cards. No, it wasn't. But you never know. You just have to come. There could be words from somebody else other than Forrest Fenn. I don't know. You don't know until you actually show up. So, but here's the deal. We are going to record a lot of this stuff, everybody. So if you can't make it to the World Series of Fenn, give me a good week after this weekend's over. But I will compile it all into a video and I will get it uploaded so everybody can see and everybody can take part. So, yeah, thank you very much. Look for that gift opening video. Poker table we haven't gotten yet, though. So I don't know where the poker table is. So we're not actually, that'll be later on when they get it. That'll probably be a whole video on putting it together or whatever. But yeah, I think we've gotten just about everything else but the poker table.
No, there's some new items that I think we have I don't know. I don't know. I just keep opening. Mike keeps bringing stuff in and I keep opening stuff. But yeah, let's talk about, Lucky just asked, do we want to talk about the lawsuit? So I just went on, I was only able to get up on Hint of Riches to clear new people and stuff. It's still rocking up there, guys. So I have 2 updates that I wanted to give. It looks like that there is a motion for the Chicago lawsuit that says and I asked a lawyer friend about it today, she is willing to dismiss her case if it would be dismissed without prejudice, which means basically she can restart it at any time or when she merits, or I don't know, whatever level, or basically it's allowed to come back. If it was with prejudice, it'd be dismissed and not able to come back. And so at this time, there could be a variety of, I know some people sent me some stuff yesterday of lots of different opinions. They knew this was coming. Low-key, definitely poker in the penthouse. So I don't know exactly why it looks, but we still have another lawsuit. I don't think we're out of the lawsuit realm at this point. The 2 lawsuits that I knew about that people were huffing and puffing about litigating, the one was scheduled. They gave the family supposedly a deadline of end of January, which is this week. The other one, it's kind of gone dark. So I believe that in general, it looks like one may or may not be dismissed because I think there were stipulations. I didn't get to read through it all, or I don't fully understand it. I usually call a couple lawyer friends and ask them. The other one has been there for a while and there's not been anything said. So, or I shouldn't say said, the judge hasn't weighed in or made a case to it. So I don't know. I just think kind of a nothing burger until we know more. It is interesting if one side is asking for a dismissal. I think it means something, but there's a lot of stuff happening in the background. So I'll just say I don't know yet until we know, but until they're all dismissed, I think it might be related to the estate. It might be related to can the chest even be sold if there's pending litigation, those sorts of things. I don't know enough to know on that. I think it'd all be guess anyway. And I know some are just having some interesting banter about that. And I think, it's all affected the chase. I think the lawsuits affected the chase more so than almost anything that we have because we don't have Forrest here now and he wasn't able to communicate a lot during pending litigation. But whether the one is dismissed or not, or state or whatever it's called. We still have the other one. And maybe a third. So they're kind of just in the sea. But I will say there was some hubbub. Can I talk about? I didn't even, I think, tell you, Mike. There was some hubbub about a YouTube video and some people getting upset. Did you hear about this?
No, no idea.
Okay. Okay. So here is my 2 cents, and then we'll call it a night. You guys may know his name's Eric, IIWII. It stands for something, I don't know what. And he was actually in Washington, D.C. during the raid of the buildings and the woman that was killed and this and that. Politics is very, he's a Fenn tuber, but he does Fenn stuff. But I saw some exchanges. I didn't see them. Some people sent me screen captures and said, oh my gosh, this is terrible, because there were some pretty heated exchanges about politics. In my opinion, IIWII Eric has been not always in favor of Mike or I. I mean, he says when he thought the GPS solved the cat comment that he made, I have a BS sniffing cat, whatever. I thought it was hilarious. I do think politics makes anyone heated. I don't think that detracts from his analysis of the Forrest Fenn situation. I hope he still does them. I don't exactly know what's going on. I was asked to weigh in, and I'm not weighing in because politics is not what we do. But Eric, I hope you keep doing analysis of where things are at in the chase. Him and I have communicated maybe once in, I don't know, 3 years. So it's not that I know him. I didn't know some of the people on the other side. I do know some of them. But I'll just say in general, that's where politics and Forrest Fenn and all those other things, they just don't mix. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Did you know all this was even going on, Mike?
Yeah, I like Eric's videos. IIWII stands for It Is What It Is. And that's what he says is IIWII Productions. So I haven't watched the video of what you're talking about, his 3 videos he did, but I will. I'll check them out. Was there something else, K-Pro, or no?
Jack Lesson, no. IIWI, no. Unless I need to be reminded of something, no.
No, just we're going to do a couple updates for the treasure hunting amusement park because there's so many rides that are still open. 3D Bronze, tell me where, put up a video hint number 3, the 3rd video and hints for his tell me where. Mr. Clue wanted everybody to realize that his hunt has an end date. Mr. Clue's Ticket to Ride is ending April 5th, is it? Let me make sure. I want to get the answer correct. His ticket to ride treasure hunt only lasted 80 days. Could that be a hint to something? But it will end April 5th. April 5th. So he wants to make sure everybody realizes that. I believe it says it in the description of his video or in the about, but I just want to put it out there. Shout out to Mr. Clue and his treasure hunts. The other thing is there is a searcher who is going to be here at the World Series of Fenn who says he's doing his own little treasure hunt for the people that are here in Vegas this weekend. You can go to sixtreasuresfilm.com to find out what that's all about. I believe I'm not going to say what it costs because I'm not sure, but I think he said all of that money will go to the winners. It's a thing. It is a boots on the ground around Vegas, but check it out. Sixtreasuresfilm.com, and he will be there. So I'm sure he will tell us all about it when we meet him at the party. And another thing is I found out about a very new ride that is going to open up in the Treasure Hunting Amusement Park at the end of February. It's actually something I just came across on Twitter. I've never heard anybody else talk about it, but I'm not going to say what it is yet just because I want to get details and talk to the creator, find out what it is, but it doesn't start till the end of February. So let us get through the World Series of Fenn weekend, and then I will reach out to this creator of this treasure hunt, which I think looks pretty cool from what I've seen so far. And then, as always, what we do on the Cowlazars channel is we will get you all the info you need. And there it is, World Series of Fenn this weekend. Yeah, go ahead, Kate.
Okay, you did remind me. There's a couple things. One, just give that to me, please. So the first is, I did post. So I have a friend that is, Bobby just asked me about it. That was boots on the ground for a treasure hunt. He didn't want to say much, and he needed to keep it kind of cryptic for some reasons. He has a search partner, some things that were happening on that particular hunt. I put it up there on Facebook and just said, I'm rooting you on. And I got like 20 messages right away. Is it one we're working on, etc. There are some complicated, some people have asked me, did he find it? I'm just going to say it's a little complicated. Some of these treasure hunts are not thinking through a lot of things, and then a searcher might have search partners, etc., that don't want to be in the limelight. So between the two, I will just say I can't say at this point exactly what's happening. It is a hunt, it is not the Great U.S. Treasure Hunt. That's the other piece. The Great U.S. Treasure Hunt, I know some of you have seen some of my messages about it. I do think it's one of the better hunts that are out there right now, but there are some significant flaws. There were some personal swipes made at me, and it wasn't to me directly. I have seen some communication between others. I'm disappointed in it. I'm not disappointed that I'm losing sleep. I will get over my snarkiness of it eventually. I will communicate what I'm wanting to communicate out. I don't think that hunt is being run very well. When you can't trust the information coming out, either by they were genuine but just misguiding, or words, or whatever, all these originators that slap Forrest Fenn for not running a treasure hunt right, I don't think they're running a treasure hunt as well as I would like. So that's all I'll say about Great U.S. Treasure Hunt. Mike will decide if he wants to share more just on incorrect solutions, wrong instructions given. I'll let that be there. But once you get called names and you kind of get, I don't want to, it's not fun anymore. And I know some of you want to rise to the occasion and say, I'm going to find it anyway, even though he's snarky. And, when you get into trolling on social media, I think originators should rise above it. I know Mike and I do. And we're not even holding a hunt right now. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. There's all my little chatterbox of my mind.
Okay, everybody, there it is. A World Series of Fenn is this Saturday, 3 p.m. Bally's, Las Vegas. Take a plane, take a train, take a car, take a bus. Get out here, say hi to everybody. Get together with your fellow searchers and talk about these things, and let's have fun in a poker tournament. So there it is. Okay, we will see you guys again. No official show on Thursday, but I'm sure we will go live Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, maybe Sunday, maybe Monday. I'm not going to commit to a show next Monday, but I have a feeling we'll probably go live Monday because everything will be over and we can talk about it. But yeah, no show Thursday, maybe a show Monday, but we will definitely be going live over the weekend. So make sure you subscribe. Mr. Clue says, ASIM Hiker, good luck. Oh, and shout out to the guy who emailed me who found another one of the Mission Overland coins. Do you guys remember? There's a guy hiding a coin in every state park, national state park across the U.S. The third searcher has reached out to say he found one. So that's awesome. Mission Overland Treasure Hunt. Yes, you can just show up, Hillary. You can. Make sure you get there by 2 p.m. in order to sign up and be ready to play by 3 p.m. 2 p.m. Bally's. It costs $60 to play. And yes, you can just show up. Of course, everybody's invited. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. We will see you over the weekend at some point.
I'll see you as Mrs. Cowling soon.